Good morning, everybody. Hello. I'm Nat Johnson, VP of Sales at Phrasee. It's my third time at Email Insider Summit, but first time in Utah, so very happy to be here. And thank you, Mediapost, as ever. I'm sure the next couple of days are going to be fantastic. So I'm here to talk to you about the language effect, why language is complicated and absolutely critical to your brand's success. So for those of you that don't know, Phrasee, we empower brands with AI-powered copywriting. Yes, AI. We've mentioned it. There we go. And some people have said we're pretty awesome. Gartner called us a cool vendor, which is cool. And you've probably already experienced our AI in action without even knowing it. If you receive marketing communications from these brands and many, many others all over the world whose, sadly, logos I'm not allowed to put on the screen, then you've already experienced Phrasee. Email subject lines, embody email CTAs, push notifications, Facebook, paid social ads, etc. And everything we do is centric to each brand that we work with. Phrasee is all about representing brand tone of voice and ensuring brand compliance through the AI-driven language models that we work with. And obviously, a fantastic quote on the side there. Gareth Jones, CMO at eBay. Phrasee makes you more money, so you're more likely to get your bonus. I mean, who doesn't like getting their bonus, right? This is a win-win situation. So there are billions of ways to write your marketing copy. For instance, if you were running a promotion about 50% off shoes, well, there are many, many ways that you could do that. But what are the odds that your gut instinct is going to get it right? So, I need a bit of an interactivity from you all now. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you shout anything out. We're hopefully going to make this technology work for us here. Obviously, I'm from the UK. If I said interactivity there, everyone would sit on their hands, start squirming in their seat. Please don't make me speak in public, because we get quite scared about that as British people. But no, so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'll ask you to get out your phones, or if you're on your laptops, and go to a site called Slido, so sli.do. That's sli.do. You can see it on the top of the screen there. And you're going to be asked to join with a code. And that code is going to be Phrasee as the hashtag. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, oh, we don't need to see it just yet, sorry. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is vote which subject line you think won the split test. So this is Virgin Holidays, who are a client of ours. They've worked with us for quite some time now. And this was them testing out 10 variations of subject line to end up with a winner that is going to be deployed to the majority of their audience. So what they're looking to achieve is the highest and best performing language going out to the majority of people. So as you're going through that process, and you guys are all looking at that language and determining to yourselves which one is going to be the winner, I'm going to break down what's happening in your mind right now as you start assessing this language. Because what you're trying to do is break this down into different linguistic components, and you're accessing the neurons that sit in your brain that help you determine language. But language is really, really complicated. I think it's fair to say that we all understand that to be true. So this is a really hard problem for us as humans to solve, and there's a number of reasons for it. There are 6 key things that make language really complicated: syntax, phonology, phonetics, morphology, semantics, and pragmatics. So if you took phonology and phonetics, so phonetics would be the exact measure of words. So you could say something like, it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit and 75% humidity. Very exact, very measurable. Conversely, phonology looks at the abstract categorization of words. So you might say something instead like, it's really bloody hot and muggy outside today. Not true for where we are, of course, here in Utah. Something like morphology then looks at how words actually come together. So if you think about the mega brand Nike and their slogan, just do it, we all know that. Imagine if they hadn't looked at the word formation quite right and they'd gone, just get it done. I'm not sure it would have had quite the same impact. So these things are really, really key and have a huge impact on language, and this is what makes it really complicated. Add to that The fact we're human. Okay? So we just apply so many of our own biases into this process. And it's really hard for us to actually move away from that. This is based on heuristics, which are rules and shortcuts that we build over time. From the moment we're born, through our entire lives, it's the kind of rules that say to us, there's a car coming down the street, so don't cross in front of it. But these are the sort of things that when you're looking in a situation like I've asked you to and determine which subject line is going to be the winner, that these actually become detrimental to us. These biases start impounding our ability to make the right kind of decision. So you could look at a subject line and go, well, it worked before, so that will definitely win again. Confirmation bias. But what if you're actually wrong? So if we can jump onto Slido and see some of the results that have been coming in this process. Bear with us, it's not the... We're going to make it work, fingers crossed, yeah. And if we can go to the poll at the top there, should be able to see the answers. Maybe not. Oh yeah, just do a quick one. There we go. Okay. So this is how you guys voted. Did someone say cocktails? Getting the most votes there. Mixture all down, some 15%, 13%. Okay, so we're definitely not deciding on one between us all in here, right? And you could pretty much argue for any of these. So did someone say cocktails? Oh, you're talking about cocktails. You're asking me a question. Oh, this makes me feel good about this Caribbean holiday. Or what about its cocktail hour? Yeah, Phrasee's coming, don't worry. So all these things, you could make a pretty good logical argument for yourself as to what is actually going to be the best performing language. A Taste of the Caribbean was actually the winner. So, when you look at this, that was tested out. A Taste of the Caribbean was the winning subject line. The human control, Caribbean temperatures, called for Caribbean cocktails. The AI-generated top-performing copy was able to deliver over a 13% lift to open rate within this single test. So when you imagine they're testing into a small, controlled group of their audience, and then they're pushing that winning subject line now out to the majority, the impact of being able to test and ensure they've got the highest performing language going to the majority of people is huge. Virgin Holidays have made millions in revenue that they're able to attribute back to the fact that they test their subject lines using AI and can deliver that optimization time and time again. And you get to see, kind of some of the brand here, Virgin Holidays, part of the Virgin Group, and kind of how they're able to test and work with language. But one part of Phrasee's AI is all about the natural language generation, which is these language models that build out this brand-compliant language. But the key to it is actually a lot of the deep learning that sits in the background, which is learning from how the audience responds to the language. And this fuels Phrasee's prediction model. So Phrasee predicted that Taste of the Caribbean would be the winning subject line. And it was. In fact, Phrasee predicted the top 4 in the exact order that they came in. And there's a bit of movement down the bottom, as you tend to expect. So this model is consistently being trained based on the audience response rates from the testing, and then that's optimizing the language further for future campaigns. So you're always ensuring you've got the most highly and performing effective language being delivered out. And the model's able to predict and determine what's going to be good, because you know what? AI doesn't have personal bias. It doesn't go through the same cognitive process that we do when we're trying to determine what's good or what's not. It's too short, too long, emojis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. Chris mentioned it before. You take another example, Joanne. I'm sure you're all familiar with Joanne. They've been working with Phrasee now. They're just coming into their 3rd annual term with us, which is great. And they have been working with AI-powered copywriting, so for the last 3 years. They've been able to see some great numbers, 10% lift in open, 26% lift in click, millions and millions in revenue. And what's been absolutely fascinating to see with Joanne's journey is actually how the language has changed over time through the testing, because they're testing against their own audience, and their own audience is determining what they're responding well to. So what they've seen is that actually a lot of very heavily promotional-based language constantly feeding discounts hasn't actually been working that well for them. The language that's much more about the brand and much more about engagement has actually been resonating really well. And every brand is different. Every brand has different campaigns, different brand guidelines and so on and so forth. So it's really key to ensure that each brand can see their own representation of data and what that model looks like over time. To give you guys a bit more information on this, we have a content download for you, info.phrasee.co/EIS. It's got email subject line optimization tips to boost your bottom line. So it's going to look at some of those biases and the factors that impact language, and also some pieces around subject line testing and some of the best practices that sit around that. So please do feel free to go and grab that download. So, in summary, the days of Don Draper dictating your discourse are done. The marketeer of the future understands the language effect, and they understand the impact that that is going to have to their bottom line. Thank you very much. Just to know, I'm not alone here in Utah. Phrasee co-founder and COO Victoria Pepia, Vic at the back, is also here. So please feel free to grab us. You'll hear us before you see us. We're very loud, we're very British, and we drink a lot of gin. So there you go.
All right. Nat, thank you very much.